Hi everyone, Swezi here, back with another video. So, have you been thinking of applying for a master's here in the UK and you've been thinking of how you can write a good personal statement, or other people call it a statement of purpose? Have you been thinking, what should I write or what should I put in? In this video, I want to talk about how you can write a good personal statement. Now, if you follow this channel, last week I posted a video talking about how you can apply for a master's course here in the UK. Now, if you click to apply for a master's course here in the UK, among the requirements, one of the requirements is a personal statement. They want your transcript or your degree or certificate, and one of the key things is your personal statement. So today I want to talk about the personal statement itself. So what I'll do now, I'll talk about the personal statement, the definition. I'll talk about the structure itself, and I'll talk about how you can be able to write one which is good. And as always, you already know me, guys. I like to show you the real exact things here on this channel. So I'll show you my personal statement that I used to apply for my master's course. So I applied at two universities with this personal statement, and I was given offers in both universities, but then I chose NTU, Nottingham Trent University. So I'll show you what I wrote, and likely you'll be able to use that to build your own. You guys shouldn't just copy that and make your own, but you can use that as a blueprint just to kind of like build your own. So what's a personal statement? In simple terms, this is a document that you write to sell yourself as the right candidate for that course itself and for that university that you're applying at. But also, this statement is used for them to judge or to assess your suitability for the course and the university. The admissions team, they use this personal statement for them to judge or to assess your suitability for the course and for the school itself. It's not a long document. It could be maybe one word document, maybe 600, 500 words, just depends. Sometimes they do tell you the actual number of words or the limit, but sometimes it's not said, but most of the times they do tell you. So it's not over 1,000 words. I'll be honest to say maybe it may reach 1,000, but most of the times it's around 600 or 700 words or even 500 words. So that's what you have to write for you to kind of like sell yourself to the university and say, you guys, pick me up. I need to be in the university. I need to study that course. Now, let me talk about the structure itself. As you already know about almost any document, you have the introduction, you have the main body, and then you have the conclusion. So for introduction, I always say, always start by identifying a challenge or a gap that you have identified, be it in your course or after maybe you've gotten some work experience. The gaps that you have been able to identify or the challenges, start by addressing those ones in the introduction to say, okay, so I've been working for the last 5 years, and this is a gap that I've seen, and I think me studying this course will help me kind of like maybe gain knowledge for me to find solutions for this challenge or the gap. So firstly, start with finding a challenge that you will be able to identify. Now, in the second part of the essay, which is the main body, you talk about these key things. Number one, you talk about your academic qualifications and how they match the course that you are studying. You also talk about your experience and how your experience, if you have been working, that is, and how that matches with the course that you're applying for. And you talk about any awards that you have, or you talk about any achievements that you have pertaining to that course that you're applying for. And finally, in the conclusion, what you talk about the course itself, and you talk about the university itself. You know what, giving it like a little more credit to be like, you know what, I want to study with that university because it's one of the best unis. You talk about ranking, and talk about the city itself. You talk about things like those, right? So what I'll do, as always, I'll open my personal statement that I used when I was applying for a master's course here in the UK, and then so I don't know, should I do line for line? Pretty much, I think that's all I'll do. So this will be a long video, and I'll see, maybe I'll just pause in some of the parts for you to read instead of reading the whole of it. But yeah, that's it. All right, guys. So it's now time for me to show you the personal statement that I used when I was applying for my master's here in the UK. So here we go. So this is personal statement. So if you remember, I said most of the times it doesn't go above 1,000 words. I checked this one. This one had 879 words, so it wasn't much. It was just around 800. So let me go through this. I think, as I said, I won't read line for line. I will for some of the things that I talked about, but I won't read line for line, because I mean, this can be a whole long video just talking about line for line. But what I'll do is, as you can see the screen, you can just, let's say, pause and read. Oh yeah, so I think I'll just kind of like go through it, and I'll just maybe leave 5 seconds for each page for you to read, and then you can be able to pause and then go through. So we'll start with the first page. Right, here we are. Then we'll go to the next section of this first same page. I'm sure you can be able to read through. Right, now we'll go to the second page. You can be able to pause, and then you can be able to read, but I'll go through some of what I said about the challenge. Remember, I said you should first identify a challenge, and then I talked about the main body, where you talk about your academic qualifications, how they match the course that you're applying for, and if you have some achievements, some awards, or something else that you see that it really matches up to that course. So, yep, here's the second page, the second section of this page. You can also just pause and then read through. And then finally, we have the final page, which I just kind of like finished it off with a few 6 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. Yes. So what I'll do is I'll highlight the key things that I talked about prior to this point in this video. So if you remember, we talked about the introduction. Just a moment. So we talked about the introduction. We talked about the main body, and then the conclusion. But in this personal statement, what I did, I kind of like just kind of like mixed them up. You will see, but it still covers these 3 main sections, right? So let's start with the first thing that I did, which was on the introduction. So I said you should start with maybe addressing a challenge. So we'll read in this first paragraph just to see if I can be able to see maybe if there is some challenge that I noticed. So I say supply chain management has seen a great rise in the past 2 decades in Malawi. It has steadily moved from the infancy stage to a somewhat mature or developed state. This has led to an influx of substandard schools offering supply chain management courses, and many people pursuing a career in supply chain management. Now, have you seen that I've kind of like started talking about the problem or the challenge? I'm talking about there's an influx of substandard schools or offering courses to many people in Malawi. And then I believe lack of proper training and appropriate qualifications has led to an escalation in the number of people considered as supply chain professionals. I'm still talking about a challenge here, with an aim of making money out of the field, as it is considered by some people, those without passion for this profession, as a gateway to getting rich. So if you're in Malawi, if you're in procurement, most people kind of like use this to, oh, people. Anyway, that's another story. That's a story for another day. We'll talk about that later. But anyway, so as you can see, I'm talking about a challenge in this section. I'm talking about a challenge that I've noted. So I'm saying this has increased the level of corruption and fraud. Now I'm also, I should say, I'm escalating the challenge. We started from here. We talked about it here. Now on the third part, I'm talking about corruption as well as fraud, right? So if you have from Malawi, we already know corruption and fraud are big things. So I'm talking about what I have been able to observe as a supply chain professional. All right. So that's what I did, and kind of like talking about the first thing that I talked about. Firstly, you see a challenge, and after you see that challenge, you now get to use that as a way of saying, you know what, I want to study that course, that specific course, because I know that it will help me address this challenge that I have seen in Malawi. So this was the introduction, as you can see. So that's the introduction covered. Just this section. I think I kind of like still went on in the second paragraph. We still talk about the very same thing. And what you see is in the second paragraph, I started to say why I want to study that course with that university. So I'll just read this through. I don't think I'll read everything, but let me just read the second paragraph as well. So I'm saying this one right here. So I'm saying the lived experiences, the rising cases of unprofessionalism, fraud, and low standards of practice has compelled me to expand my existing knowledge base, skills, and experience in procurement and logistics management to a greater depth through rigorous studies in supply chain management. Now I'm talking about why I want to study this course, which is also an important part here. So I'm saying this is why I would like to study the master's degree in management and supply chain management at University XYZ. So as I said, I applied to 2 universities, so these had those 2 universities. So I'm saying studying at a prestigious university will be exciting and challenging, as it will greatly equip me with professional knowledge and also a recognized professional qualification. So as you can see, I've kind of like introduced the problem or the challenge that I've seen in the field, and then I've also said, oh, you know what, I would like to study at your university. So what I'm simply trying to do is to kind of like introduce the challenge and then the reason why I want to study that course. So if you go on, you see I start talking about like my current experiences. Now, if you remember, earlier on I said in the main body you can talk about your experiences, you can talk about your so this is what I'm doing here. You're talking about your experiences, you're talking about your achievements, you're talking about things like those. So that's what I am doing in this paragraph, the main body. So the main body still continues into this um, the third paragraph and fourth. So guys, as I said, I won't read line for line because this will take it to 20 minutes or so, so I don't want it to go that far. So as you can see, I'm now talking about my experience and my academic qualifications. I think come in the next paragraph or the fourth one. Yeah, so I'm still talking about my experience, why it aligns with whatever I want to study. So this, I'm still talking about my job. And then finally, I think I talked about my school here. Just a moment. Okay, so guys, I applied for 2 courses, as you can see. But anyway, they said roles. Yeah, I'm still talking about the very same thing. I'm still talking about the very same thing. And then here I talk about the school now, like my qualifications and why I think I am the right candidate because of my school and everything to do with my school. That's what I did here. So I talked about my research during my undergrad, and yeah, pretty much that's it. And conclusion, I just talked about my passion for supply chain itself, and as you can see, this is how we finalize this. So yeah, as I said, guys, I won't read line for line, but at least I've given you a picture of what I just said earlier on to say you have the introduction, you have the main body, and then you have the conclusion. So I also want to say one thing: there is no one size that fits all in terms of personal statements. They're just different. They're just different. So this is just to give you guidance and to act as a blueprint. And this should not be like the end or be all. No, you can still be able to work on something better than this as well. I wrote this in some time back, right? So yeah, so I've shared with many people, and I thought I'll just share it here on YouTube to kind of like reach out to many people that those that are trying to write personal statements if you're trying to apply for the masters. So yeah, I hope you find this helpful. But as I said, this is just to give you guidance, and this will not act as um, the end or be all of all personal statements. And yeah, I hope you have found this helpful. Thank you guys. Yeah, guys, so I hope you have found this helpful. That was my personal statement that I used when I was applying for my master's here in the UK, and I was given a place. I hope you will use this to build your own. Don't just use this, guys. Use this to build your own, right? So yeah, I hope you find this helpful. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.